All right. How's everybody doing tonight? If you didn't watch my video last night, I had to. This is a camera I've used for these videos since I started. I've had this camera since 2017. It's a Sony RX5, expensive camera. I probably paid about $1,000 for it. It broke last night when it fell off the tripod, so I'm having to use my GoPro as a backup until I can get a new camera. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I probably won't do any of that, like buy a new camera and all that stuff until I'm back in like a more permanent or semi-permanent housing situation instead of the temporary housing I'll be in at least until the end of December. So anyway, recapping last week, yeah, it was not a good week last week, but I wasn't surprised. I think the first 3 weeks I had winning weeks were luck. Like I said, I've just had zero faith in the college football season this year, any models or anything. There's just too many things that are hard to account for with this type of season, especially the lack of non-conference games. I've said it all along, that's going to really screw up a lot of models, just because non-conference games is how you truly can weight a team and how good they really are, because then you can compare apples to apples within the conference. But anyway, yeah, last week second week to risk zero point 0.4 units per game, and it was, yeah. And I hate when I saw all these favorites. I was never a fan of all those favorites, and a lot of them lost. So it just wasn't a good week. So year to date, minus 4.67 units. Gonna have to dig a hole if I'm gonna have a fourth straight winning year. But I don't know if this year should count. Just because it's different. I'll still count it anyway. I'm not gonna be that type of. It's not like it matters. It's not like I'm selling these picks or anything. So anyway, already ran the model, so let's go through the picks. So Georgia State and Arkansas, no play. I know there's a game going on right now, Coastal Carolina and UL Lafayette. That should show you how plugged in I am to this season. It's not that like I don't care. It's not that I'm not watching, but it's just my level of interest is a lot lower in college football this year, just with the lack of fans. It just didn't feel important. So yeah, usually every year it's like my fall revolves around college football, not this year. I mean, I still watch, but it's just not the same. SMU and Tulane, my model has it right at 6, and the spread 6.5. No value here. I wouldn't play SMU there. It's just a bad spot for them. BYU and Houston. So BYU finally plays it's not their first road game, but Houston actually kind of overachieved against Tulane last week. It was their first game. They didn't look bad, but my model likes BYU by about 9. The spread is 4.5, but they don't get the penny metric. That's the only key BYU is not meeting. So no play there. All right, BC and Virginia Tech. It has Virginia Tech by about 10. Spread's 12, just not enough value. BC meets 3 of the 4 keys, but not all. Pittsburgh and Miami, Florida. So we have our first plays of the week and Pitt on both. My models really like Pitt this year, and they haven't really come through the last 2 weeks, but let's hope that third time's a charm. Miami, prime letdown spot. I don't think Miami's that good. Their wins, don't look as impressive as you think. Louisville looks terrible. Florida State looks bad. Who they play in their first game? It was UAB. I mean, yeah, and then they play Clemson last week and lose. I think this is a prime letdown spot for them. I think Pitt has a good chance at covering. Winning, 375, asking a little bit too much, but it's still a value play here. South Florida and Temple. So Temple played their first game last week, and did they win? I don't think they did. They lost to Navy. So, yeah, like I said, first game jitters. South Florida has more games under their belt. So my model likes South Florida on the money line here, plus 350. It makes sense. Temple just hasn't. Sorry. My throat still hurts from that 2-hour video I did last night. Yeah, a lot of talking last night. But anyway, South Florida is a play on a money line here, 350. Navy and East Carolina, 2 really bad teams. My model has Navy taking 3 of the 4 keys, but not the blender. My model's not in agreement here. The same thing happened last night. The camera turned off for some reason. Yeah, I'm not used to using this GoPro as my webcam. All right, I'm back on. So East Carolina, +1. Model's in complete disagreement here, so no play. Duke and NC State, we have another play. NC State on the money line, minus 190. Duke's looked pretty helpless this year, and NC State's looked decent, so it makes sense at minus 190. Virginia and Wake Forest, no play here. It has Wake winning the blender by 4, but Virginia winning the ATM by 2, so put it all together. Wake meets 2 keys, Virginia meets 1. It's 2 split. Auburn, South Carolina, no play here. It has Auburn by about 8. Spread is -3. So, like I said, if you don't care about the penny metric, go ahead and play Auburn. Otherwise, no play. And speaking of which, so this is the second week of this iteration of the model. Nothing changed from last week for the first time this year. I didn't make any changes. So I'll be able to recalibrate my keys next week when I have 2 weeks worth of data in there to do some key analysis. So I'm using the same keys as I've used all year, but that will change next week. But right now the penny is still a key, and it does not agree with Auburn here, so no play for them. North Carolina and NC State. My model has North Carolina by about 18 to 20 on a 13.5 spread, but they don't meet this key right here, the ATM cover percentage, so no play. But my model is not buying Florida State here at home. And I probably agree with that one. They don't look good this year. Kansas and West Virginia. This might be I don't know about the 2 worst teams in the Big 12, but pretty close to it. But Kansas is a 22.5-point dog. And my model has West Virginia by 27 here, by 23 here, and a combined 26. But the keys are split, so no play on either team. Liberty and Syracuse, we got a double play on Syracuse line and money line. I'm surprised that Liberty's a favorite here. I know Syracuse is bad, but Syracuse played Liberty last year and beat them pretty easily in week 1. So I know Syracuse don't have the same team as last year, but home game against Liberty, my model has Syracuse winning outright by about anywhere between 11 here on the blender and 3 on the ATM. So I don't know what the line is about here. But Syracuse is the play on both the spread and money line. Clemson and Georgia Tech. These 2 teams played last year in week 1 as well, and Clemson won by a lot. I think this is going to be a complete repeat of the Wake Forest game in the first week this year that Clemson won by 34 in. They won 37-3, right? So I think it's going to be about the same. So Clemson on the spread at -27 is the play. My model says by 31 on the blender and by 33 on ATM. So combine that, that's a 32-point gap. I think you should feel good about Clemson here. Kentucky and Tennessee, no play. Tennessee's in a letdown spot, and Kentucky, they beat Mississippi State pretty badly. So, Kentucky could be a play here, but the keys are split. The eyeball says Kentucky's in a good spot, but Tennessee's in a letdown spot. You got to play the numbers, and the spread is right. Even Stevens at 6, so no play. Texas State, South Alabama. Keys are split. Texas State takes 3 keys, but South Alabama takes a penny. So if you don't care about the penny, go ahead and play Texas State. Otherwise, no play here. Western Kentucky and UAB. This is a double play on Western Kentucky, spread and money line. My model has UAB by about 12 on the blender, but only 6 on the ATM. Put it together, that's 8. So there's a lot of value on the line. Money line, 31% win percent for Western Kentucky. So about 1/3 chance of winning, but the line's at 450. They're a value play there. Ole Miss and Arkansas. Double play on Arkansas here. Arkansas's really, looked a lot better this year. I don't know how to explain it. I was not a fan of their coaching hire, but so far they've looked they haven't looked terrible. It has Arkansas winning outright on the blender, pretty even on the ATM. So on the combo, Arkansas by about 2. So a double play here for Arkansas. Ole Miss, they have a letdown spot. They played Alabama pretty close last week, and this is a prime letdown spot for Ole Miss, so I like it psychologically as well. A&M and Mississippi State. Talk about letdown spot. A&M is in a prime letdown spot. They put a lot of eggs in that Florida basket, and a lot of people are sleeping on Mississippi State after they've looked terrible on offense the last 2 weeks after beating LSU. So I think A&M could be a bit lazy here. Letdown spot for them, and Mississippi State trying to turn things around. My model actually has Mississippi State winning outright on the blender, and it's very even on the ATM. So the combo says Mississippi State outright on the money line at +200. I like it. Cincinnati and Tulsa. Everyone knows that Tulsa's my kind of dark horse team this year that no one's really paying attention to. And wow, look at this. The blender has Tulsa by 12, but the ATM has Cincinnati by 4. So put it together, it's Tulsa by 4, but the keys are split. No money line play here, but I like Tulsa. I really do. UCF and Memphis. We have a play on UCF money line. Wind's probably taken out of the sails for Memphis after their loss to SMU. UCF is also coming off a loss to Tulsa. Two teams coming off a loss trying to salvage their season. I think UCF's in a better rebound spot here. And my model agrees. It has UCF on the blunder by 8, ATM by 6. So, yeah. Whoops. I skipped Army and UTSA. Army's finally playing a road game. I don't think they've played one, but it has Army by about 8, right in line with the 7.5 point spread. No play here. We got 2 and 2 on the keys. So as sharp as a line as you can get, no play. Louisville and Notre Dame. So these two teams played in week 1 last year at Louisville, and Louisville lost. So Louisville's looked lifeless this year. They've looked terrible. It's funny. All my Louisville fans are acting like Scott Satterfield was a god after last season. I said at the time, I was like, I think Louisville's rebound year in 2019 was more of a product of their schedule rather than turning it around, and I think this year is kind of proving that out to be right. After they got embarrassed in the second half against Georgia Tech last year to fall to 0-3. We played Notre Dame on a big spread last week, and they didn't cover. Can they do it this week? We're going to have to do it again. My model says they're going to win by about 21-22, so they're on the right side of 17. North Texas, Middle Tennessee, two pretty hapless Conference USA teams that just have not looked good this year. So in the battle of suck, my model says North Texas is value play on the ATM. It has them winning 53.8% of the time. So at plus money, that's a good bet. Florida International and UNC Charlotte. Charlotte by 14 here, by 2 here, put it together by about 8. But my model says about 1/3 of a chance for Florida International to win, so 1/3 would imply a 200 money line at plus 240. It's a value play for FIU. Marshall, Louisiana Tech, no play here. It has Marshall by 21 on the blender, but 14 on the ATM. So they meet 3 keys, but not the ATM key. They're only 0.2 off, so if it gets to minus 13, Marshall is a play. Vanderbilt, Missouri. So Missouri had their big win last week against LSU. They'd be caught sleeping. Vanderbilt's probably a good team to play to prevent a letdown. Vanderbilt is no good. We have Missouri by 19 on the blender, 23 on the ATM, so combo 21. Just too sharp of a line here, guys. Big game of the week. This is probably the biggest game of the season so far. Georgia and Alabama. Wow, the keys are evenly split. Alabama beats one of the money line keys, so no play here. Blender has Georgia by 4. ATM has Alabama by 8. Put it together, combo has Alabama by 2. This can go either way, guys. I don't think the parallels between LSU and Alabama last year apply here. I don't. It's a little bit different of a matchup, but it's just going to be probably a low-scoring game. But Alabama's defense looked really bad last week. I don't know what that's all about. How come no one ever talks about the SEC defenses like they do the Big 12 defenses? But anyway. This is just a game you watch and enjoy for what it is. Wow, Southern Miss and UTEP. Not a good matchup in terms of quality. It has Southern Miss by about 5, so it has them winning 90% of the time here. So minus 240, that's a great value play. 19.4% ROI estimate. So Southern Miss is the play on the money line, minus 240. And that's it. So let's take a look at the plays this week. I'll post these on my Twitter if you can't see it, but we got 6 spread bets, and we got 11 money line bets. So I'm just going to keep going at 0.4. I feel like that's fair. I'm not going to scale back. I'm just going to let it ride. Like I said, the season is what it is, If we're going to be able to salvage it, we got to do what we got to do. So it is what it is, guys. And there we go, 5.15 total units risked this week. I'll post this in my Twitter account. Yeah, the penny. Everyone asks that every week. It's just different types of. It's a linear regression model, but it's just different types of weights that I apply to the stats that I plug into the regression model. So certain stats get certain weights. That's all it is. So the penny is the most unstable one. By unstable, I mean, the weights are the most extreme. The higher up the dollar value you get, the more stable it is. Yep. I don't think Saban being out is going to really change things. But yeah, just according to my model, you can't really apply for stuff like that in a model. You just got to go with the data. Twitter, I'll type it right here. Yeah, yeah. Going with over on Miami and Pitt. Yeah. What did my model say? Like, I don't do totals, but I don't know what the total is. I don't ever do totals, but mine had it at Miami and Pitt has it at 43.1. 43.1. And it's pretty consistent. Like the penny has it at 45, nickel at 38. So 43.1 is what it is. Over Miami Pitt, good luck with that. Over on Alabama Georgia, what did my model have it at 48? Yeah, Alabama, I don't know what to say about their defense last week. That was just sad. It was sad. Like I said, if that happened, if that was a Big 12 game, everyone would be making fun of the Big 12. But my model has a total at about between 44 and all the way up to 49 for that game, Georgia Alabama. Yeah. So yeah, my throat hurts from all the talking I did last night, so I'm gonna end the video now. But thanks for tuning in this week. Let's hope that this week is a lot better, guys. Thanks everybody for watching.